You've submitted your med school applications, congratulations, but the grind doesn't stop there. The next critical step is the interview. Most schools weigh interviews heavily, some even up to half of their application. So how you prepare for them can literally make or break your cycle. When I first started prepping, I had no idea what to expect. But once I knew what they were assessing, the prep got much more targeted and efficient. So that's what I want to share with you today. I'll walk you through exactly how to ace your med school interviews and land that acceptance letter. If you don't know me, welcome to my channel. I'm a med student at McMaster University in Canada, and I got into both McMaster and Western University med schools. I did my whole application on my own without any paid resources, so all the tips and resources I share in the video will be free to use. Even though I personally applied to Canadian med schools only, interview formats, content, and expectations overlap a lot with the US, so the tips in this video will be helpful for you no matter where you're applying. I'm also offering one-on-one interview prep and mock interviews, so feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram. The goal of the interview is to get to know you in a live setting. Schools want to see your communication skills, your ability to think under pressure, your character and judgment in complex situations, as well as how you approach key healthcare topics. They won't ask you for specific clinical information, but your ability to apply your previous knowledge to real-life scenarios will be crucial. Most Canadian schools still have virtual interviews, so they will use Zoom or something like Kira Talent. So the two main formats you'll encounter are panel interviews and MMIs. Some schools will use a hybrid model. The panel interview is a typical interview format where you will speak with 1 to 3 interviewers who can include physicians, medical students, faculty members, or community members. Some panels follow a strict set of questions, while others are more conversational. Most panel interviews are closed file, meaning the interviewers don't know anything about you prior to the interview. So you can use this as your advantage. It's a fresh start, even if you feel like other parts of your application were weaker. It's really your chance to make a strong impression. The interview outcome might even turn the tables completely for you. There might be follow-up questions after the main question, but this is often more common in MMIs. This brings us to the MMI, which is the multiple mini interview invented by McMaster University and now is being employed by many schools across the country. You will rotate through timed stations, 5 to 10 minutes each. Each will have a new prompt and a new interviewer. The questions generally fall under these possible categories. In the MMI, you'll get a prompt, have a short period to think, and then be brought into a virtual room with an interviewer who will listen to your answer and ask a follow-up question. When the time's up, you'll automatically move to the next station. I'll go through answering some of the question types in this video, but if you guys want, I can make a separate video on how to specifically answer each type of question in detail with examples, so stay tuned and let me know in the comments. Formats can vary across different schools, so be sure to check your school's updated information for your cycle. You want to start preparing early, even before invites come out. For Canadian schools, ideally aim to start prepping in December. You want 2 to 3 months of solid review and practice before your interview. You want to build a solid foundation of knowledge for different topics so you don't get caught off guard by unexpected policy or ethic questions. Read up on high-yield topics such as these and make sure to have some good points and perspectives to talk about and form your own opinions about them. Don't worry, you don't need to be an expert, but just make sure you know the overall picture, why it matters, your personal experience with them if you have any, and try to come up with potential solutions for bonus points. Your evaluators see many applicants a day, so you want to stand out by bringing an authentic, personal touch to your answers. Write out memorable real-life experiences from your life, extracurriculars, work, clinical experiences, etc. that you can talk about for each CanMed role, such as the time you demonstrated communication skills when you resolved a conflict with a coworker. Don't memorize a full script because you don't want to sound rehearsed. Just be ready to adapt your example to different questions. Understand each school's mission and values. For example, McMaster actually publicly published a full manual for their interviewers about the MMI, med program values, and exactly what they're looking for and their criteria. It's very worth reading. You can apply it to any MMI. Record yourself answering questions to check your tone, pacing, content, as well as any distracting habits. For example, I tend to look up a lot when I'm thinking, so I made sure to correct that. It's really key to time your answers because it's so easy to run out of time. Figure out how many minutes you have approximately for every question based on your interview length and stay within that limit. Keeping your answers concise will also give your interviewers time to ask you follow-up questions, which will earn you bonus points. This should be the bulk of your prep. You can do all the prep work and reading in the world, but it's not going to help you if you can't apply it to actual practice. Start practicing to a real audience as soon as possible. I found people who were also prepping for interviews from Reddit, Discord, and I scheduled mock sessions. I also practiced with medical students and even a physician I knew, so don't be shy to utilize your network. Usually people are very happy to help. You can also use AI to generate prompts for you nowadays. Finally, the part you're all waiting for, I'm sure. How do you actually answer the questions? For personal questions, it's helpful to use the STAR method. Start with introducing the situation, the main objective or issue, any actions you took to accomplish that goal, as well as the overall outcome. Overviewing the actual events should only be about 1 to 2 sentences each, while the bulk of your answer should be in the reflection section. Talk about what you learned, how it changed the way you thought and behaved, as well as how you'll carry that insight into your future medical practice. The experience itself doesn't need to be extraordinary. What matters is how you learn from it. Next, I'll give you an exact formula on how to ace answering other question types, including ethical and situational. First, you can briefly summarize the problem and acknowledge why it matters. This will also give you a few extra seconds to think if you haven't had your thoughts together. Alternatively, you can also provide a thesis for your answer like an essay style. Or you can use a unique hook by addressing how you might feel in that actual moment to make your answer more realistic and switch up the tone. For example, you can say, I would take a moment to collect my thoughts and my emotions. I want to calm myself before approaching the conversation. Never make assumptions and always get as much information as possible from multiple reliable sources. You can never go wrong with reaching out for help, such as consulting a physician, a supervisor, or a social worker. For example, you can say that you want to clarify the illness severity and progression with the physician with your family member's consent, and ask your family member why they might want to pursue alternative medicine and hear their perspective. This leads me to my next point, which is always consider multiple perspectives and acknowledge the complexity of the situation to show that you're thinking deeply. You can mention ethical principles like patient autonomy and justice, weigh the risks and benefits of each major option, consider the cultural or family context, and any system barriers. Demonstrate that you can respect opposing viewpoints and approach conflict with grace. Validate their concerns and show your respect for their side of the story. Here's where inserting a personal experience can really elevate your answer to sound authentic. End with a strong conclusion by either summarizing your stance or proposing a creative solution. This shows your critical thinking and problem-solving skills. In the previous example, you can talk about incorporating a multidisciplinary team involving the physician, any surgeons, having honest conversations, and integrating both medical approaches if that's appropriate, in a way that both aligns with your family members' values and promotes their health. If you blank out on a question, don't panic. It's totally okay to ask for some time to think. It actually shows maturity. If you get an unfamiliar topic, just be honest and give your best answer while explaining your thought process. Med schools care more about your character and judgment rather than specific areas of knowledge. So you can use if-then statements to reason through your thoughts. Find a quiet and private place to take your interview. Ask your housemates to leave if needed or book a private study room. Keep your background neutral and professional. Look at the camera, not at the interviewer's face. It makes a huge difference from the interviewer's perspective, and it's much more engaging that way. I actually practiced with this little figurine on my camera so I could look at it while I talked. Finally, be prepared to not leave your seat for the next 1 hour or 2 and have a water bottle with you during your interview. For me, sipping some water between stations helped to ground me and calm my nerves. That was a lot of information, but if you've made it this far, you're already well on your way. Interview prep is a skill that you develop. Trust me, the first few times might be a train wreck, but don't worry, I promise you'll get better with every time you practice. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see from me.